Welcome to the Freelance Tribe. Here we talk with skilled freelancers about their professional journey. Stay tuned for real-life experiences to learn and actionable steps to take to improve your freelancing career. My name is Yuri. I'm a community builder at Code Control and 9am.works, and my guest is Lean Vilas, a lead software engineer, mentor, coach, and communication advocate with 10 plus years of industry experience. And today we'll be talking about how to increase your confidence as a software engineer, and not only by improving your coding practices and communication skills to land new projects. So welcome, Leon.
What an introduction. Well, hi, Yuri. Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
That's exactly who you are. You know, like I just prepared. I just went through your LinkedIn, through your website, and here we are. Here we are. So tell me, please, how did you find your confidence to not only land great projects, but also help others with that?
Well, that's a very good question. I think it started years ago when I realized, hey, I need to do something that is fulfilling for me. I realized I enjoyed a lot helping others succeed and helping others have great careers. And I was like, why not give it a try? I mean, this is what I like. This is what I like doing. I should try it out. After spending years and years doing software development and a bit of career development in different teams and startups, I was like, why shouldn't I try it out? And I set up where I could still do some software engineering work while keeping a part-time job with a company. And I started freelancing on the side as a mentor for software engineers. And it's something that I'm very happy I started with, because it brings me a lot of joy. It's very fulfilling. So I think the confidence came from there, came from the fulfillment it gives me, and the will to try it out and to not miss out on learning from this. Because of course there are a lot of things that I don't know how am I doing or how to do them, but I will learn them. And it's part of the deal. So, yeah.
How did you find your first client?
That's a good question. It was very random, actually. I signed up years ago now on a platform called ADP List, which is a mentoring platform. I joined because I wanted to start having the experience of meeting new people, see if I could help somehow. I started doing it for free, just a half hour a week. So I was not spending a lot of time. And when I started freelancing, I created programs for sessions focused on topics that are interesting for software engineers, like upskilling, coding practices, job finding, so job preparation and communication skills. And one day I woke up and someone booked one of my sessions, and I was like, this is so cool. And so it kind of happened from one day to another. At the same time, I started building my brand on LinkedIn and creating content and starting to interact with people on LinkedIn as well, which I was not very active before. So I think it was a combination of all this coming to place. And after that first moment, I still have a screenshot of my first payment, because I was like, hey, I'm so happy about this. So,
I'm currently reading a book by Alex Hormozy about 100 million leads and 100 million offer. And somewhere in the book, he also shared his first screenshot of having my first money, first payment or something like that. So maybe it's something that you will include in your book later on. So you never know.
Maybe, yes.
And I'm curious, what does it mean to be a confident software engineer? How do you feel it personally?
Oh, yeah, this is a great question. I think it's a combination of things. I think it's being confident means, for me, embracing uncertainty as a learning opportunity. It also means speaking my mind while giving space to be curious about other ideas.
Mm-hmm.
And in summary, it means believing in myself. So the way I feel this is it's, like nervousness and excitement have very similar physical cues, as in our stomach. We feel like, the tension here and so on. And for me, it's about being able to reframe nervousness into excitement. So when I go into the unknown with a feeling of excitement, for me, it means, okay, I'm confident. I'm confident that I can do it.
How do you do this? How do you switch from nervousness to feeling excitement?
I think it's the frame, the framing that we give it in our minds. Because I like to embrace the unknown with a learning mindset. It's, for example, if I go to a job interview and people sometimes ask me, are you afraid? I'm not afraid. I mean, yeah, I'm nervous, but I'm also excited, because for me, going to a job interview is also an opportunity to learn from the other person. I mean, yeah, I know I'm under the spotlight in an interview, but I think about it as a two-way conversation. So the same way the person is trying to figure out things about me and learning from me, I'm also doing the same with the interviewer. So it's about this reframing.
It's so interesting, because you reminded me my first job interviews when it was like, I don't know, 20 years ago. Oh, yeah, no, okay, not 20, but like 15 years ago. And I was like super nervous. What will they ask me? What will they think about me? And nowadays, when I talk to a client or where I do, I feel like a coffee chat. And, I feel like I want to get to know a person. And it's fun when I'm talking to like this classical recruiter who asks like the same repetitive questions as every recruiter asks. Sometimes I feel like I'm interviewing them because I'm asking so many questions. It's so weird, but yeah, I totally get what you're talking about. And I'm curious, what skills does a person need to have to be professionally confident?
Yes, I would say I focus the recipe in with three main ingredients. I think the first and most important one is curiosity. Looking for opportunities to learn from our surroundings and incorporate that into our work. I think it's the main part of being able to embrace the uncertainty with a learning mindset. Curiosity, just be curious about what's going on. Yeah. The second skill is assertiveness. This one is tricky, but I think it makes a big difference, because if we learn how to communicate our thoughts effectively, we will sound more confident, and our ideas will also have more impact when making decisions. And the third one is competence. Last but not least. So for me, it's important that I know what I know and what I don't know also. And what I know, I nail it. What I don't know, I practice. And this is how I close the kind of the cycle of, okay, I'm curious, I don't know, I will learn, I will practice, I will share my ideas, share my learnings, also feed myself from others' ideas. And yeah, these are, I would say, the three main skills related to
What do you do if a recruiter or a client asks you about something you don't know?
That's perfectly fine. I mean, I would say, first of all, I would say, explain a bit, hey, this is what I'm understanding. So reflecting on what I understood. I would try, if I heard of it, I would probably try to explain what I know and my understanding about it. And also be open to ask, hey, am I more or less on track, or was this what you meant? And if I plainly don't know, I would just say, like, hey, I haven't heard of this topic. Would you mind telling me about it? So what is important for you? Or just being curious, right? Like trying to get something new out of the conversation, learning from the other person.
It's interesting. You are talking about curiosity, and it's something that I recently also noticed in myself. And I'm trying to analyze like the teenager Yuri, and I can't say that I was that curious. So I read books, yeah, fine, I love them. I played games, yeah, exactly, I loved games. But I can't say that I was this person who was like, oh, this is new, oh, it's exciting, it's interesting. But now it feels like that, and I feel like I kind of taught myself to be curious. So what about you? Have you been curious like as a child and then grow up, or maybe you taught yourself?
I love how you related it to teenagehood. I think this is something that I taught myself, especially during teenagehood. It was one of those ages where I was like, I have my life figured out. I don't need anyone. I don't need anyone to tell me what to do or how to do it. So no, definitely it was not something that I was carrying since childhood. I think I developed my curiosity mainly when I started leading a team in a previous job. And I realized that dealing with or helping people and helping people grow, it's very different than dealing with code, for example. Code doesn't have an opinion. It's like, yes, I can learn more about the technology and so on, but it's not gonna give me another opinion on how to do the code.
Yeah.
But people do, and it's very important to listen and to understand what's happening inside that person, to be able to also learn from that and help them in the best possible way. So I had to teach myself how to do it, because by nature I'm a very opinionated person and I have a lot of ideas on how to do certain things. And I learned also that was not the most effective way to handle relationships in general, actually.
Yeah, I remember once I heard this phrase, meet people where they are. And I was like, what the hell does it mean? I have no idea what it means. But then I was like, okay. So it's like being open-minded. And then I heard another quote from oh my God, I remember this actor, but he just ran away from my mind. So the idea was, okay, Matthew McConaughey, and he told that like he was in some movie, and director of the movie came to him and told like, Matthew, you're right, but there are more than one ways to be right. So I was like, that's how it works. So I feel like that's exactly what curiosity means. There are
Yes,
more ways to be right.
definitely. That's lovely, actually. I think I'm gonna borrow it also.
That's how it works. That's exactly
Yes.
why we are here, to learn from each other. And also, you are talking a lot about communication skills, and coming back to your team leading experience, definitely you can't do this without communication with other people. So from your experience, what is one thing that every person just has to start doing right away to improve their communication skills?
Yeah, this is a great question. And if I would have to summarize it to only one thing, I would say listen more and talk less. Because it's incredible how much we can learn and also adjust our mental frames before speaking, just by listening more carefully, by listening not only to the words, but also to the body language, to the surroundings, to what's going on, to what's the other person feeling. It's incredible. So pay more attention to listening and less talking. And I think that's the first part.
Did you read any books about communications?
Yes, I read a lot about communication and behavioral science. I love the topics. I'm not a psychologist, but I think I should have, because I like it a lot. There's one book in particular that I think everyone should read, and if you ask me, I would add it in schools at an early age, because it changed completely my vision of how to communicate. The book is called Difficult Conversations. And it explains how to have difficult conversations. And the core idea is, hey, we have a conversation to make progress. So we are not there to be right. We are not there to win, or something like this. We are there to make progress together. And they build up on this idea of making progress, and it opens up a whole new world of opportunities in a conversation, because it's like, okay, we're stuck here. We're not making progress. what are we missing, right?
Yeah.
And then it's like, okay, I need to listen, I need to answer, it opens up a bunch of questions that are very interesting to develop. And then the book also gives a lot of examples. So yeah, super, super nice.
Sometimes it feels so hard to really stop and listen and understand that you are not moving anywhere when you are like confronting each other instead of like trying to find a solution. I feel like that many people who have in conversation, their main idea is to be right, but exactly it doesn't help to solve problem. So, and
Yeah.
you know, I totally understand, like from my perspective, and I bet you also most likely had this, an imposter syndrome. So when you know some good things, you start questioning yourself. Am I really good? Do I really know it? Can I share it with others? So from your perspective, how to overcome this imposter syndrome?
Yeah, it's super interesting. This is a super interesting topic to me. In a nutshell, imposter syndrome is us telling I can't to ourselves. I think the key to overcome imposter syndrome is to reframe this I can't into I can't yet. This is a very slight change in wording, but it has a very powerful effect in how we perceive ourselves, because it gives us the space to learn and improve with time. So we are not there now, but we will eventually. And it's fine. It's fine. We cannot yet. And on top of this initial reframing that I think it's very important, because in the end it's our thing, right? No one else can help us overcome imposter syndrome, because it's a thing that happens within ourselves. I usually share also two very practical techniques on how to, one, reduce the stress, and the other one, well, let's start with this one, with the first one, for reducing the stress. It's called cognitive diffusion. And it's to relieve stress and remember that our thoughts are just thoughts. So it goes something like this. When we are having the thought of, hey, I'm not enough, I'm not enough, I'm not enough, we turn that into, I'm having the thought that I'm not enough. So we tell that to ourselves 3 times and let it settle for a bit. Then we go one step further and we say to ourselves, I notice that I'm having the thought that I'm not enough. Repeat it 3 times, let it settle, and see how you feel. Because this topic is all about talking to ourselves in a different way. And this technique really helps detaching ourselves from our thoughts, or taking some distance, not detaching ourselves, and realizing that our thoughts are just thoughts. It's not who we are. And the second technique is something that I also borrowed from a book that is called Sell Yourself to Yourself. And I love this because this technique, it's about writing a 60-second commercial about yourself that you can read before an interview, for example, to gain confidence. And you should really just write something like, for example, I don't know, John Doe. Meet John Doe, an important, really important person. John, you're a big thinker, so think big. You got plenty of ability to do a first class job, so do a first class job. Now go for it, John. Go forward. Yeah, and this exercise of telling ourselves who we are, who we really are, and who we want to become also, it's really helpful to overcome imposter syndrome.
No, it also sounds like a mantra. So something you are repeating and telling yourself, like, I'm powerful, I'm strong, I'm gonna nail it. Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
And it's interesting. I've never heard about this technique, but it sounds really, really amazing. And I feel like, I also read some books about how our brain works and how we are talking to ourselves. And the one thing that stuck with me, that if you are like, for example, looking in the mirror and like, oh, I'm not beautiful, or I don't like my hair, or oh, I have this little bit stuff on my belly, whatever, your organism think, oh, okay, that's exactly what we need. We need less hair. Here you are, less hair. You need a bigger belly. Here you are, bigger belly. So how you kind of communicate with yourself, exactly the same thing you are receiving. And after that, I'm always trying to be super careful with what I'm saying, kind of to myself, because the more you say the same like bad thing to yourself, yeah, there is no wonder in the future you will really have what you want to have. So yeah, I'll definitely borrow this from you, and I'll do after our conversation. I'll do my little bit like 60-second speech for Yuri, and I will read it before every podcast, before every conversation, before every talk. So yeah, thank you so much for sharing this.
Of
And
course, yeah.
you are a coach, so this is question for myself personally. Like most likely it helps others, but it's for me. So I've never worked with coaches, and why? The reason why, because I don't know if I can trust them. Like in this way that what can someone teach me something that I can't do myself. But then I understand that it's a lot, because almost every person I'm talking to who has having coaches, they're much moving forward much faster. So from your experience, what is the difference between figuring out what works and what doesn't work on your own and having a coach to help you?
Well, I think you pointed it out already. But just to give a bit of a summary, I think the main two differences is, as you already mentioned, the time to grow. I think that's one key difference. I think having someone coaching you can be like having a living chat GPT that answers your questions and also asks you more questions that help you explore paths you've never thought about. And this, in my experience, can dramatically reduce the time it takes someone to grow in their career or in life as well. And the second thing is the level of exposure to ideas and experiences. A coach usually comes with good experience in the field and knows a lot of things about what works and what doesn't work. And having all of these insights gives us a much broader spectrum of ideas and concepts we can use to make our own decisions and build our career path. Because the coach is not going to do it for us. We have to. There's no way around that. But having more tools and more information, it's always a good thing to make better decisions.
And from your perspective as a coach, who is your perfect coachee? What does this person have to do? Like ask questions or ask about your experience? Like what is the perfect behavior for someone that you are coaching?
I think someone needs to be willing to be coached. I think that's the point. And how I would define that is, first of all, are you ready to grow? And second is, are you ready to be challenged? Because that's the whole point. I'm going to challenge you, and it's not going to be pretty all the time. And I'm going to force you to take you to path you don't want to go or to explore right now, but it's important that you know they are there. So again, so you can make a better decision, or you can at least think about it. So yeah, I would summarize it as that: willing to grow, or being ready to grow, and being ready to be challenged.
Got it. Len, I wish to have the sky is the limit, but time is the limit to our conversation. So the last question, what is your favorite food?
My favorite food? Oh, good question. I would say, since I'm here in Germany right now, I'm going to choose a German dish that I really like. I wouldn't say it's my favorite food overall, but I love Kässpätzle, and now I'm going to start a war between Austria and Germany because I said this. But because I don't know where it comes from, south of Germany, Austria, I have no clue, but I love it. It's so good.
Got it. And what is the best way to connect with you?
You can connect with me on LinkedIn. That's the best way to do it.
Got it. Len, thank you so much for sharing your experience. And it's been such a pleasure to hear and learn from you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for the invitation. It's been super nice. I love talking to you, Yuri. So yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. And thank you so much for listening. If you like the show, hit the like button or 5 stars and share it with your friend. That's it. We're done. See you in the next episode.